there's just been, you know, I think back on some of the athletes over the years that I trained with power. I loved training with power, but I was always so intimidated by power. You know, there's a famous story of Steve Larson. I don't know if you remember him. He's one of the better cyclists here, and he just trained with power and raced with power. And there was one year he was catching us. You know, we were about 10 of us at the front of the field, and he was catching us quite quick because he was such a poor swimmer. It took him a long time to catch us. And he was kind of totally reeling us in, but dropped out of the race because he wasn't seeing the numbers that he normally saw. And he's just like, oh, my race is done today. And just totally pulled out of the race. Are you able to, like, if you see some low power numbers and just going, well, that's what it is today, and like, are you able to turn that off in your head?
Well, yeah, I look at it two ways. I look at the power meter and I see the power, and I see the heart rate, and those are the two indicators that I look at. I mean, your heart rate's going to fluctuate a bit, adrenaline early on in the bike. So I know more or less what kind of power I should be pushing. So I'll ride that early on, see where my heart rate is. And then later on in the race, I know 137 is my heart rate. So so sit around that. It's a bit. I mean, you're riding in the bunch, and you got to be smart. You got to use a bit of tactics to get through it. But
any head games out there?
For me, this year is just watching and seeing what happens. But yeah, I mean, you got to play the game, I guess, in the future. And how come you didn't? Like, I mean, was that the reason you didn't race with power? Because you worried about the numbers? Yeah,
just so worried about the numbers. I never ever wore with a heart rate monitor.
Okay.
I raced a lot. I trained so much with the heart rate monitor and power that I created a perceived effort level in my head.
Okay.
And so I'd use that on race day. What does this feel like on a scale of 1 to 10? It's an 8, it's a 7, it's a 9. Oh, 9, I got to back down.
Okay.
And so I kind of created my own little range. But yeah, I used the heart rate monitor in 110K, saw some numbers, ran a really slow race, and I held back, but it just intimidated me, and I was just like, I'm not even going there. And it worked really well for me, but I think a lot of age groupers need it because they go out way too hard.
Yeah.
You know, and redlining it, and then, you know, one of my favorite stories is people going, oh, I trained so well for Ironman that I bonked. Well, you bonked because you were going too hard. And they're like, oh, no, it's totally nutrition. You're like, no, it had nothing to do with nutrition. It's because you went too hard. And a lot of people can't correlate that.
Yeah. See, I'm a bit like that. I would probably go too hard if I didn't have numbers there. Yeah, it's more to slow me down, the numbers, than...
See, I just never had that kind of speed, so I never had to worry about it. Yeah.
But you had the strength, Pete.
No, that was a while.
His stories about you riding home from Kauai High.
Yeah. Did you just train on the course, or did you venture off at all?
Mainly on the course. One of the long rides I enjoyed doing was up to Harvey and then turning right, going over the Kahalas.
Love that ride.
And down to Waimea and then back along the top road.
Love that ride. I actually like going the other way around.
That's the hard way. My way is the good way. You get the tailwind the whole way home.
Yeah. I just like climbing up towards Waimea on that heat.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love the heat training here.
Yeah, it's nice.
But it's just... definitely. Did you ever ride towards the Painted Church area?
I haven't actually. I did last year when I was here watching, but I didn't get sick of the course at all. So it was fine.
How have the cars been out there while you've been training?
Generally pretty good. Been pulled over by the cops a couple of times for motor pacing behind a car.
Okay.
They didn't appreciate that too much.
Just a warning or a ticket?
Just a warning. Oh, okay. We had a guy, a French driver, who didn't speak any English, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we managed to escape
to
off
work
that one.
that one a little bit better.
But, I mean, yeah, generally the drivers have been great. The whole community's been great. There's been a few people who've pulled me aside and said, hey, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's great that the triathlon's in town. It really does a lot for our economy here.
Yeah.
And then there's a few people who couldn't give a shit if you came or not and would try to drive you off the road if you just went over the white line and missed some glass or a pothole.
But it's those few that I felt when I trained here. It was an advantage on race day, because it almost felt like the locals were rooting for me because I had actually taken the time and the effort to come here. and train there, and the crossing and the meeting, you know, and like the grocery store, and creating these little relationships. So all of a sudden they're rooting for me, and just having, you know, the Hawaiians kind of on my side a bit, I just felt that was a huge energy boost on race day.
Yeah.
So
It's,
you got to tap into any
you feel,
source.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You feel like you're a local.
Yeah.
King Kamehameha.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. How is it swimming out in the ocean?
It's nice. I mean, geez, just so clear, so beautiful.
Any shark sightings?
No, we've been joking about that quite a bit though.
Yeah. So you always want to swim with someone that's slower than you.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to be able to outswim the shark. You just have to be able to outswim the slowest person.
Yeah. Is there any guys that you're keying off more than others this year? Like just kind of keeping an eye out there?
I guess after racing with Cameron Brown in New Zealand, just seeing how he goes.
Yeah, Cameron definitely knows how to race this race.
And he's experienced. He's got, I mean, so many years under his belt and so many great results here. So watching how he does it, a good thing. And I think Craig Alexander, last year's champ.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from an ITU background along with Chris McCormack, just seeing how they go through the race would be interesting to key off them.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be interesting. How about the women's race? You see anything out there?
I think Chrissy Wellington, she just came on the Ironman scene with a lot of force, and I think she'll be a hard girl to be messed with.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if Sam McGlone, she's recovered from an injury and got a bit of form. And there's Mirinda Carfrey. There's a few girls up there. Be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely interesting. Where do you go from here? Is this it for the year, or do you keep racing?
I'd like to do Clearwater. Won last year, so I'd like to go back and see what I can do. It's 5 weeks between the two races.
Yeah, such different kind of racing too.
Yeah, so I guess it all depends on how I perform here, how I recover from here, and how I can just get the running legs back and running speed up leading into the race.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks, Terenzo. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Peter. Good to hang out.